This video is brought to you by StarCharge, the largest EV charging manufacturer in the world. They are also a provider of residential and commercial battery storage with microgrid solutions. Hello and welcome to another Out of Spec Reviews video. As we are always on the quest to find the newest, coolest, highest power, highest reliable EV chargers, we had to stop at ABB. We've been covering ABB chargers from the beginning, and they have a brand new exciting product launch. So of course we are here, we're gonna meet some of the ABB team. We're gonna show you, of course, inside the units, nerd out about them. They're called the A400. It's a 400 kilowatt all-in-one unit. Of course, we've seen a major competitor of theirs enter the US space recently. There's the Alpitronic Hyper 400 and this unit. It's getting exciting. New cool hardware coming into the US. And in this video, we are focused all on the new A400. So what we're gonna do is give you a tour of the sort of product range, why this is needed for our market and Europe. We're gonna go through the UI, brand new, beautiful software actually. I've already had a chance to have a sneak preview a few months ago, which is really cool, and soak in some of what this charger can do. And there's some incredibly neat technology when it comes to cables and cooling and like so many firsts and things that I've never seen before. So join me for a full tour of the new ABB A400 all-in-one 400 kilowatt charger. All right, here we go. Look at this thing. It's a box with some cables on it, but it's pretty sick. We all know ABB has been around in the charging game for a long time. And well, now we have a brand new charger from them. A few things to note is just going to be things I'm curious in, the switching matrix, how many kilowatts you can do port to port, some of the software as well, how CPOs can choose to integrate this a totally different way and design language that we've never seen from a charging product before. And of course, the different cables that you can choose. There's a dual cable option. You can do CCS 1, 2, or NACS. In this case, you can see a NACS and CCS connection. There's some really cool things going on with this cable where it's an air-cooled cable, but they liquid cool the pins. I don't really know how it works. We're gonna ask the guys here and learn about this because it's super neat. You can see just some of the software here, some of the graphics, really neat displays. We're going from ABB probably having some of the worst or the least beautiful UI software, updating every 10 seconds in kilowatts, the little tiny screens, to like this. It's the biggest night and day shift I've ever seen. And what I want to do is not delay anymore. I'm going to have my friend Asaf join me. And Asaf, I'm going to hand you a mic if that's okay. So here you go. Cool. Now, we had the pleasure to meet and do a video together at CES this year, this was hidden, but it was exciting. But we basically gave a brief overview to ABB's place in the market, the products that you offer. So if you're curious about that, we'll leave that video linked in the description. But now we can unveil your new baby.
We can talk about the future of charging, right? So really happy that we can actually show the proof points that we were talking about, and how for us, we're really trying to make a step change in charging, right? And really elevate the game. And I think that you see it with just your own eyes as you approach the charger, right? But we want to address, what are the main pain points in charging? And that's what this kind of new step into the new line of charging is all about. How do we boost session success rate towards 90+%? How do we have uptime and session success rate that's 99%? That's what we're trying to do here. And so we'll go into some of how we've done that, both from a user interface experience, removing pain points on payments, and then also really how we boost reliability and address a charger more like a digital asset, right? This is something that you don't just put it in the ground. We need to manage this to make sure that we can deliver reliable kilowatt hours to customers and to drivers. So that's what we're excited about.
Tell me a bit about ABB beyond this charger. You've been in our market for a long time. We spoke with some of your engineers that will be back on the camera again today, but where like 50 kilowatt was unheard of. And then also you had another product, especially in Europe, the Terra 360. We filmed that in South Carolina as well. Is this replacing it? Where does this fall in the product lineup?
Yeah, I think where the A400 fits is this is where charging is going, right? So this is the first product in our next line of chargers. You'll see more stuff come out over time. Oh, cool. We'll also be very excited to talk about when this time comes. But yeah, this is where we're moving forward. And so the 360 will stay doing well in Europe. But here in the US, we're just going to skip straight to the A400
Nice.
And really bring next level of charging.
So ABB, do you know how many chargers you guys even have in the ground? It's got to be a ton.
I mean, the latest numbers is over 50,000 DCFC.
Yeah.
Then we have AC charging as well, which get us up towards the million charger range.
Yeah.
But yeah, so we've been doing this for a long time, as you know.
Yeah, and the Terra 184 is kind of the workhorse of that particular power level now. Everyone's installing them. They're going everywhere, especially for fleets. We've been seeing it a bunch. This is really exciting to me because you can charge 2 vehicles simultaneously at 200 kilowatts, which is awesome, or a single one up to 400 kilowatts. Can you do it out of one port?
Yes, you can. And then you can do it in 50 kilowatt increments. So you have dynamic power sharing between the connectors in 50 kilowatt increments.
So walk us through the highlights of this product. What's the elevator pitch for the A400? Is it you know, there's starting to be some competition in this space in our market. Why would someone choose this over some of your competition?
Yeah. Well, I think the main reason is kind of how we're looking at charging, right? It's not a box, and you're not looking at, you know, what's the power capacity rating on it. What we're trying to say is, what's your return on investment with the charger? What is your ability to deliver kilowatt hours reliably over time in the most cost efficient way? And in order to do that, you have to obviously have the unit, but a lot of it is what's behind the unit, right? We've architected the product to be more like building blocks and with platforms, both on the hardware side and the software side, so that you can really boost reliability and uptime, and then ultimately connect it back to our charger operations center to really do proper diagnosis and maintaining of the chargers, and give you that ability to know that you're going to have, you know, reliable charging wherever you go, and you can ultimately max out the number of kilowatt hours you can deliver, and to do it in an easy way. And a big piece of that is, does the charger work, right? Is it easy to initiate a charge session, right? And I think that's a big piece of it too, because the charger returns back to operators if it's working. And so I think we actually can start with Chris here, who can bring us in on kind of how we're starting to change that approach to really boost those charge session success rates and get people on the road.
Well, amazing, and congratulations on the new product launch. I'm looking forward to Chris walking us through some of the UI, UX stuff. And let's jump right into it. Thanks.
All right, cool, let's do it.
So Chris joins us from ABB. Chris, what is your responsibility for ABB?
Hello, Kyle. Well, thanks for having me. I'm in charge of product and portfolio marketing at ABB.
Amazing.
Mobility.
Cool. So this is the new big boy. It's the new baseline for all future products in this category to be built off of, it sounds like.
Yes.
What were the main goals with it when it was going through the engineering process?
So the main goals for this is we were actually trying to look at this from a user-centric approach. What are the 3 biggest pain points in the industry? Reliability, user interface, and the return on the investment. So actually, when we built this charger from the ground up, we looked at those 3 domains. First one being the power domain. Johan will take us through a little bit later, but that's everything about the power modules inside. We have the business domain on 2 controller boards, which talks about the HMI, the payment. One of the key pain points in the industry is payment authorization failure, the HMI flow, the charging flow. And the third domain is the cloud domain, how we talk to our asset management portal. So if there is an issue, we can have our COC team with one platform be able to service the charger with the right part to be able to keep the charging uptime where we want it to be.
Okay, that's speaking my language. I like all of that.
That's
so
perfect.
What is the customer experience when they roll up to use the charger? They're going to park their car?
Well,
what
first
happens?
of all, I would like to point out the customer can see actually the LED lights that, yes, this charger is available. Wow, clear symmetry. I have 1 and 2. I have the connector type. I can read very specifically what action am I supposed to do. So as you can see here, it says plug in to charge.
Yep.
So I take this off, clearly indicated. I connect to the vehicle.
You pulled it out. That's so cool.
Yeah, but then what I would like to talk about, our software portion right here, is California sells a lot of EV vehicles. We have a lot of CTEP regulations. What you see is actually the charging price, but then in CTEP, you have to actually confirm this. So you need to press it versus
That's part
Europe.
of the agreement there.
Exactly.
Okay.
Versus Europe, I just need to show the price. So then as a user, I can pick that and I proceed to authorization where I can take out my debit card, other ways to pay with an application. As you see, I'm authorizing here. We go through the process and now next up, it's successful. It clearly communicates to me what's my next step. So again, back to CTEP regulations is how do you get that information? Do you deliver it on the phone via SMS? Would you like to have a QR code? But one of the things we're testing out here at ACT is when is the right moment to show that in the user journey? You don't want to do it at the end of the journey because people charge and they leave. You don't want to do it 5 minutes later because they're at the retail shop.
Right.
So you can do that right now.
Okay.
So I close, I have it, and now my charging started. So Kyle, I think you have a cell phone.
Yes, I do.
So why don't you break it out and hit the QR code?
Okay, can do. Let's do it. Hold on, let me go here. Boom, got it.
So we call this our transferable UI where Kyle can
sick.
leave and he can go shop and he can see the charging of the vehicle right away.
And will this work cross CPO, or is it up to the CPO to implement this?
So we look at this as a partnership as does the CPO have an application? Do they just want a web page overlay? So that's where we partner on the best customer experience to solve those user pain points.
I've used a couple hardware like this. ChemPower comes to mind where this is an option for those units, and I love it because I'm often driving media test vehicles or a friend's car, and I don't have the Cars app, and if it's a CPO that doesn't support it, I have no idea what my car is at.
Yeah.
So that's perfect.
So we chatted a little bit. So we went up to 80% where it tells me to
I want this car. That's
return,
a fast-charging car.
return the connector. Charging's done. So what do? I replace the charger. Now again, I have my complete profile here of the charging session.
Dang, I love the little graphics that you have too.
So I would like to get to that in just a second.
Yeah.
I can push to get my receipt information, but you see it also clear symmetry of where am I concentrating? Nothing's charging here, so I have all my information clearly right there. I can close that, my charging's done, I'm in my vehicle, and I'm ready to go away. And then I'd like to highlight a couple points where now you see the LED lights coming on, gun holder LED lights are coming on. It's really visually appealing to the user to say, okay, now I can come and charge. So that's really how we've changed this design language with sympathy, with clarity, to really elevate the charging experience, because we have this EV adoption curve in the industry. We have a lot of first-time users and returning users, but we have to really get people into that experience. So Kyle, what I want to do is I take you through a couple key screens that we have on our A400. I like to first display, what information we give to the user when they're charging. We can give time to 100%, but what I'd also like to draw your attention to is like the lighting. So we know this one's in use, but you also have a call to action for someone to come next to it where you have the lighting, and it's also very inviting to plug in to charge. Now, if we click to the next screen, what I have is when we have the dual output technology. So you can deliver 400 kilowatts in 50 kilowatt granularity, so 200, and then depending on what the charging strategy is. So again, you see here very clearly 64%, 99%, how much time you have until 80% and 100%, which can be
that's nice. This will
customized.
also encourage 80% charging, which is great.
Exactly. So to protect the battery level of the vehicle.
Yeah, don't pull a bolt every time you plug in over here up to 100.
Yes. So then next, I'd just like to walk you through a couple screens about how we proceed with authorization, but also when we, let's say, we can fail gracefully from the user standpoint or the charger standpoint. So very specifically, like if you have a membership card, let's say you're at a Costco or you're at a Walmart, you bring the cards out of your wallet, you try to scan, maybe you pull out the wrong card, so it just gives you very nice information of it's red, authorization failed, it's expired, or why. So the user knows what to do. So the next part is, when the charger is unavailable, you have clear lighting. This also gives signaling far away, so you don't drive up to the charger, get out, and then say, hey, this doesn't work.
Thank you.
Yeah, but it also gives you a message of why that's happening. Now, the next point I'd like to draw your attention to is we see the LED light, it's not red, the charger's functioning, but this is actually more of a user error, gives you clear indication, also at the gun holder, return the connector because there's an error with the battery about what the charger or the vehicle detected.
Okay, so potentially these messages will pop up with something. So occasionally we find cars may not want to go into a charging state, you have the wrong settings, or you never shut it off, whatever happened. This will say, hey, it's not this.
Exactly.
It's the other guy's problem.
And this also helps with the hotline, calling, what's happening, and also for a site owner, it reduces their, let's say, mental strain.
Yeah, of course, of course.
Yeah, so Then we have our media modules. So this is a place to put a message to the drivers. You can also have the tariff information, the ways to pay. Again, if you have an operator app that's integrated, you have the QR code, you have the hotline to call, and then all the information about the charger with the adapters, charger ID, and who the operator is.
Right, so you can figure out, okay, I'm at a XYZ charger owned by this company, here's their number, you can go their QR code. This base software that you have here on the display, obviously this is the software that comes included and from a UI standpoint with the charger, but we've seen some CPOs want to do their own skins or their own screens. Are you allowing them to do that, or are you trying to have them work within this window, or what does that look like?
So I'd like take a step back and say we have a base software configuration where our key focus is charging success rate. So before we do any customization, any modularity, any configuration, it's about getting to the highest charging success rate we can with the base software. And then what we'll do for potential customers is split that up into 3 domains. What's easy, what's not, whether it's a text placement, a logo placement, a media module, of course, might be more extensive, but that also includes like the lighting as well. So how does that integrate into the brand? But we still focus on the user and hitting the 99% charging success rates.
Okay.
But then let's go to that nerd screen of like, what's our charging curve, information about the charger.
I love that it even shows at what percent the speed is decreasing.
Yeah. But one thing I would like to point out with this, which is really relevant, is you can communicate to the user, why is my charging speed going down? Maybe you're in the middle of California, AC is running at every single house, so you have limited grid capacity. So the user knows that, and that really helps our CPOs because that means they're not calling that number and clogging up the call center. So it's really about defining what you tell the user to create that great user experience.
I mean, derating, it's amazing to know like if you're giving the car everything it's asking for, or if it's the charger that's derating and why.
Exactly.
And that like takes so much stress out of charging for so many EV drivers that are mostly our viewers who are in the know and understand charging. We love this. I also just love the charging curve that you have on here.
Yeah.
And is any of this also available in the app or saved afterwards, or is that a possibility in the future?
So I would say that's something we would partner with depending on, again, if it's in an application integrated, if it's a web page overlay, one-time flash. So those are things that we would discuss.
Cool. Well, love all this.
Okay,
That's cool.
Perfect.
Okay.
So then I think I will turn it over to Johan so you can go inside the charger.
Amazing. Thank you for the
Perfect.
time. Really
Thank you
appreciate
very much.
Johan, you are like the godfather of EV charging at ABB. Maybe you
Oh
can,
my God.
can you tell our viewers just how long you've been in the EV charging industry?
Well, I'm here from the beginning, which is, if I call back 2009, when there were no EVs. So we started basically with having a car, taking out the motor, putting in batteries, and that's how it started.
Yeah.
No CHAdeMO, no CCS, no NACS.
And you had really pushed for DC charging early on.
From day one, because we at that time we believed that's the only way to make it work. Which at the time we were talking 50 kilowatt, which was kind of this will pull the grid down and those things. But look where we are right now.
And it wasn't until maybe even close to 10 years after that, 50 kilowatts still was the standard.
Absolutely. So I think I would never have believed 14 years ago that I would announce a 400 kilowatt system. That was unbelievable at that time. But here we are.
Amazing. So I know you've put a lot of blood, sweat, and tears into this one.
Absolutely.
Our audience, I mean, you know this thing in and out. You know what we're interested in. I'm going to let you run. The craziest thing you told me just initially was about your new cable.
Yes. Okay, so this system is designed, and we will show you later on inside a little bit how we do it. It's designed from reliability point of view, efficiency point of view, easy to service. It's designed for 10-year lifetime. And then we look to what are the pain points to get to this. And let me start first with the connector. So this system here is for the North American market. It can have or a CCS1 connector, or the NACS connector, or the G3400. Still need to get used to the name.
Yeah, me too.
So, and it can be in any combination, 2 times CCS or 2 times NACS, or you can have the one or the other. So what is the issue with cables and connectors is just the current. So this system is designed to support 2 times 600 amps.
Okay.
So at the same time from the 2 connectors. So if you look at the power level, this is 400 kilowatt, which can go to one connector or the other connector, or we can then dynamically share that power in 50 kilowatt increments. I will show you how we do that. Now, if we talk about 400 kilowatts, then you come to 600 amps.
Yeah.
So we need to sustain that. Now, how do you develop a system with 600 amps? You can do it in different ways. You have the famous non-cooled cable,
Yep.
and then you have the liquid-cooled cable. Now, both have advantages and disadvantages. So we look to how can we solve these problems. So let me explain the advantage of liquid-cooled and the disadvantage. Let's start there.
Yeah, thank you.
And air-cooled, and then let's see what we did. So a liquid-cooled cable, what you do is you cool the cable, but more important, you cool the pins. That's where the highest contact resistance the DC pin is. That's where you have a hotspot. So you cool the cable, but you also cool the pins. And what you have to do is you have a cooling system inside. You run it through the cable and you cool the pins. So now the problem is also if you have a liquid-cooled system, it takes power, and it can go up to 2 kilowatts. You have a thinner cable, more heat loss, 2 kilowatts, which is gone. So we were thinking, is there another way? Of course, you have the standard air-cooled system, where the cable is not cooled and the pins are not cooled. But that has limitations with respect to power. So we were able to cool the pins inside this connector without going through the cable. And this is ABB patented technology.
Right. I've never heard of this before. It makes sense, but how much power do you use to cool inside here? Because you still have a lot of heat generated.
That's the beauty. So what we did, we used what's called two-phase technology. It's a system where we have a copper tube inside, touching the pins, and it has a liquid. And the liquid evaporates, taking the heat away, and then we cool that liquid in a closed loop with cooling fins to become a liquid again. So it's a liquid to vapor to liquid technology in a passive loop.
Totally passive.
Totally passive. So if you look inside, you can see the cooling system.
Ah, okay.
It requires no maintenance. There's no power loss. The big advantage is you don't have the loss in the cable.
So you can actually go with thinner cable. Well, you're still pretty thick because
No.
you need a lot of copper.
We still need the cable thickness, but we can sustain a high current for a longer time compared to air-cooled cables.
So what's the rated capacity of the cable then?
The rated capacity is 500 kilowatts, but we can do 600 kilowatt peak.
So you can do 600 amp at 1,000
600 amp, excuse
Yeah.
me. Excuse me.
Yeah, if at
500
1,000 volts, the cable should be able to handle it.
It's
Not the charger, but yeah,
It's 600 amps peak, and we can do 500 amps.
continuous,
Continuous.
which is, that's on par and better than a lot of fully liquid cooled cables.
Well, liquid cooled cables is similar performance here, but of course we still have a little bit of more weight as a compromise. Yeah, but we believe this is great technology.
What does this mean for maintenance? Because as an EV driver, I often roll up to chargers and liquid cooling systems are either out of order or leaking everywhere.
Absolutely. So there is no maintenance on the system. So at least on the cable, there's no maintenance. There's also no maintenance on what's inside. So it's a closed loop. It doesn't require refilling of the fluid or something. There's no active. There's no electronics. There's no fan. There's nothing. There's no maintenance.
And when you derate off of the 600 amps to 500, is this based off of time or temperature?
So it's of course we are measuring the temperature, and based on that. It also depends on the ambient temperature. Is that high, you derate faster. If it's freezing, you don't derate.
So you could just put a little fan on the side of this. Just get like a little stick-on fan and
Well,
keep
we
it
have
going.
this on YouTube. There is this concept that you put the towel on a Tesla
Yeah,
connector.
of course.
This type of stuff.
Only some crazy people
We
would
have
ever
not
do that.
tested that, but at least we're checking the temperature. So this is quite unique. This is ABB technology. On top of that, this is a modular system. If it breaks, what breaks? The pins can get worn out.
Yeah.
We can replace the pins.
Oh, amazing.
Independent.
So you don't need to swap the whole cable.
That's the point. So in traditional cables, this is one piece, and if something breaks or you drop it and the plastic breaks, you have to replace the whole system. Not anymore, you just replace the part. So we can replace
But
the
I
top
don't
part
see any screws, so how do you do it?
from here.
Ah, okay,
You
on
open
the
it up.
side. Okay, yeah.
So this part can be replaced, the housing can be replaced, and the pins can be replaced without changing the cable.
Amazing.
Yeah. So this is a new innovation we are bringing into the
And
system.
you will have a CCS1 and 2 version with this innovation?
Yes. So
Okay.
this is CCS1, this is CCS2, this is the same technology as you
Yeah.
see.
When will you have a NACS version with this passive cooling?
That's a good question. So
Okay. Fingers crossed soon.
at this
It's
moment, the next version here is 400 amps. This is not using this two-phase cooling technology, so here it's the connectors, the limitation
right
at this moment. Yeah.
Sure, but there's always the future.
There is the future.
I wanted to ask you about the payment terminals. So do you offer different payment terminals or just one?
Well, as it was explained before, one of the big pain points is authorization, also the payment process. So we have our own payment solution here, and this is the preference to be used. Of course, if there is volume, we can discuss and put other payment systems in. But this is one of the biggest pain points today
Totally.
in the getting the charging success rate up.
Yeah, so you developed this.
This is our own technology.
Wow.
So we own that.
That's really cool.
Yes, and it's fully integrated. What I also need to say is that we have two controllers into this system. What we found out is that in order to have this flexible user interface, this will run on Android.
Okay.
And that's a separate processor from what we have into the charger system.
Okay.
This
Interesting.
allows us extreme flexibility. Even if this breaks, the charger will still operate.
Wow.
It's
Nice.
like your Tesla.
Yeah. Yeah.
If the HMI doesn't work,
You can still drive it.
and I will show you how we do that. So we have one controller doing all of this, and we have a separate controller doing the rest.
Okay.
And this allows us this extreme flexibility.
Amazing. So we have one opened up.
Yep.
Should we show everyone?
Okay, inside you have the controller for the charger. It's one single board, it's controlling the full charger.
Okay.
It's IP65, so it's contained for dirty air. This is the controller of the charger, and this is the controller of the full HMI.
Oh, so they
inside it.
literally are separated.
These are two separate controllers. So this
Okay.
is an Android system, which allows it to do whatever you like, basically, more or less. Okay, so the way we have designed the system, you have the controllers, two of them, and then we look to the power modules. So it's designed for lowest cost. And what you see, AC comes in from the bottom. You see the fusing, and it's all physics. So you go for the shortest distance for the electrons to travel. And if you do that, you have the most efficient system. AC power comes in. You see here the connection for the AC power. It's only 3 wires, not 4. We don't need the neutral.
Even in Europe?
Not even in Europe.
Yeah.
Saves you installation cost.
Okay.
3 wires only, not 4 like most of the others.
everyone else, yeah.
Exactly. And very easy to access. Some of the chargers out there you cannot get.
Sure.
this.
Yeah.
This is designed for easy installation. So input, AC comes in here, runs through the fuses, and we have 4 blocks of 100 kilowatt.
And are they your power modules?
This is our own design, silicon carbide,
Oh, nice.
highest efficiency,
Yeah.
ABB design.
What efficiency percentage do you imagine you'll have? Is it in that 95%?
No. The total system, including user interface, everything you see, lighting, 96.5. Also there,
Wow.
extremely careful.
Okay.
You see numbers.
Yeah.
But sometimes people talk about the power modules only.
Right, you're talking full system.
Full system, 96.5% for the full system, including what you see.
Wow, that's neat.
Yes, that's silicon carbide. So power comes in, 3-phase. You see 4 blocks. The first block here, we'll see on the side, is the AC/DC conversion, 100 kilowatt. And then we have a second block, which is a module, 100 kilowatt, which has 2 times 50 kilowatt DC/DC. So outside, what's coming out is 2 times 50 kilowatt. So we have 4 of these, which means 8 times 50 kilowatt. They go up into a switching matrix.
Okay, so the switching matrix is up top.
It's on top. And why? Because that's the shortest distance. So we go up,
Yep.
it comes out here.
And for the viewers who don't understand switching matrix, this is basically the granularity that you switch between ports.
Absolutely.
So
yes.
you can go in 50 kilowatt chunks from
Yes.
car to car.
Absolutely.
And on the power modules, when you plug in, let's say you only plug in a slow charging car like a Chevy Bolt or something, do you change which power module you turn on for durability? Or
we
does
can
it
do
always
we
start
can,
with one?
we can do that using, because we can align or we can assign any power module to any output. So we can
Sure.
we can optimize reliability by saying I'm using this a little bit more, a little bit less.
Yeah,
of course
amazing.
We can.
That's great.
So power goes in, and then we switch to going or to the left cable or to the right cable. So the certified metering is here, and you see this is shorter distance coming in and going out again.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So this is about the the power electronics. If you look here, this is the input. What's important, in order to have this high power, you need maximum cooling.
Yes.
And there's no restriction. We have maximum input,
Full cooling.
full cooling.
And the airflow moves this way.
It's very important. There's some systems out there where the airflow is in the direction of the user. So we have designed a system that airflow goes, it's not obstructing it's not obstructed first, and it goes left to right.
Yeah, which is great. Also should reduce some noise and like the heat around the charger and everything.
Yes.
Obviously you've tested this thing running full send. Is it pretty quiet?
It is, what is it? It's in the spec sheet. It is very quiet, absolutely.
Okay,
Yeah.
amazing.
Below 65 at full power.
I just love how simple everything is.
It
It's
is-
not complicated at all.
It looks very simple. Of course, it's very difficult to make something very simple.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Okay, so this is the system more or less.
Amazing.
Yeah.
So what are the big advantages from a technical perspective over some of the competition that's out there compared to this?
Many things. First of all, separation of user interface from, let's say, the controls. I don't think anybody has that.
Okay.
That's a massive, and that allows us to do these crazy things.
You've gone from the UI that was not great to the best UI that I've seen.
This is like a smartphone.
Yeah.
So suddenly we have smartphone.
But it's not a
experience.
touchscreen. You operate
No,
with these buttons.
no, there is a reason for that. So when we designed the system, there were a couple of priorities, and based on these priorities, we took decisions like on the cable. Number one, the highest priorities are user experience and reliability. And we discussed for length, should we do a touchscreen or not? But we couldn't find a screen which has the right reliability, and that's why this is what we decided.
I also for a second, I thought this light burned out, but no, it's only because there's no selection there.
It's correct.
Okay.
It's correct. So the main difference is separation of user interface of the control of the charger, full integration. This is what we call the business model. This includes payment, all the lighting, and the display, and that is one separate process. The airflow is highly optimized. Use your own power modules.
Yep.
So many of our competitors, they buy a power module from somebody else.
Of
I
course.
think it's very hard to maintain the quality.
And what was the decision to go silicon carbide over IGBT? Of course, the cost
Efficiency,
goes up.
efficiency.
But efficiency is much better.
Efficiency, I think.
So that's a heat thing and also a cost situation for running it. And reliability, is it more reliable?
if you cool it right.
Okay.
So I think if you go to these power levels, there is. I mean, if you need to cool that with, let's say, non-silicon carbide, you just need to get so much power out, so it becomes very noisy. What's also important to get the noise down is that you see there are fans here, and they're speed controlled.
Okay, so you can run them at a low capacity.
Yes. So also when you can run them in low noise mode, for maybe we need in Europe, in Germany, we need that. These fans will only run at the right speed, which is needed to have the lowest noise.
Can you talk to us about some of the testing just to finish up? What have you thrown at this charger? What have you done with it? Where have you put it?
Okay, so first of all, in the design, first we test our components. So I would say never trust your supplier, which is maybe the wrong thing to say,
Okay,
as
sure.
maybe you're selling to your customers. But
Yeah.
but if you buy parts, contactors, screens, and so on, we test all of them ridiculous. So I mean ridiculous for months. We break them.
Yeah.
So we have every single part you find in the system was tested, even the fuses under load until they break. In this way, we had to make some changes in the selection of the components. That's the first thing. Make sure your components are up to the quality level. Secondly, it's fully modularized. So basically, we have 5 modules: AC box, DC box or DC conversion, switch matrix, and control. 2 controls, and they're tested independent from each other.
Okay.
So which means we have this box which is tested, and only when they're okay, then they go.
Then
to
they
the
go
system.
as a system.
Yeah.
Yep.
So it's also like the way Tesla is doing parts.
Yeah, of course.
5 modules you test and they go in.
Yep.
And every single module is also tested again in climate chambers. And then finally, we test the full system in the factory And what we're now doing, we started with what we call the early adopter program.
Okay.
The first systems will go in the ground.
Wow, exciting.
Yes. next
So
month.
can't wait to charge on one of these.
Oh, sure.
I want to be there. It
We
should
know.
be enjoyable. And yeah, congratulations on making such a unit. Of course, to your team and colleagues who have joined in this video. Really cool of them to have joined. It's not often we get to do sort of product launch stuff on this channel for charging. We do it with cars, but this is pretty exciting.
Yes.
I mean, as you know, especially in our market, we need a reliable, high power charger. And yeah, it seems like this thing at least has a pretty promising start. Time will tell, but I'm excited
Time will tell.
for it.
Time
Yeah.
will tell, and we're happy to invite you to the first installations. So
Thank you.
But we are super excited to have this system.
Amazing.
here.
Well,
All right.
the A400, thank you for joining. Always
very
a
much.
pleasure. And thank you guys for watching another Out of Spec Reviews video. We'll see you on another one again soon. Bye-bye.